I sold my fishing boat to buy a blank slate and build my dream boat. If you're new here, we essentially bought 2 pontoons. We took all the good stuff off the expensive pontoon and put it on this cheaper pontoon. We did brand new decking and flooring on both pontoons. We did a budget-friendly build on the cheaper pontoon that we plan to sell to recoup some money that we are spending on the nicer pontoon. We robbed the tandem axle trailer from the cheaper pontoon to keep for the nicer pontoon. We added a center tune, making our new pontoon a tri-tune. This adds buoyancy and performance. We put a brand new vinyl flooring down on our new pontoon and it turned out sweet. We then added the fencing and furniture as well, and it is taking shape. Here we are, current day 3 of the tracker build and day 6 of Project Dreamboat. We have a big episode ahead of us. You do not want to miss this one. All right, we're at a pretty scary part of the project, at least for me. I gotta cut these parts out for the instrument cluster. I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie. Here goes nothing. As I mentioned, today is action-packed. I'm working on getting this helm dialed, and my dad is working on stripping the tandem axle trailer completely down to the bare frame to prep it for paint. We're gonna replace just about everything on this tandem axle trailer. Working on this helm, I really just took my time and was as careful as possible and used a handful of different tools to get the job done. It was a tedious job, but if you just go slow, it's really not that difficult. Once the openings for the instrument clusters were completed, I moved on to the steering bracket. My dad continued to work his way around the trailer, grinding out any imperfections till it was perfectly smooth. Back to the helm, installing the steering box was a 2-man job. Neither my dad and I had ever installed a steering system into a boat, so this was new for both of us. Following the instructions, we got this half-moon piece installed and the steering wheel slid on perfectly. And man, does that look good. Alright you guys, we got to a part in the build that's going to take a lot of thinking, and we're just trying to go very slow so we don't screw anything up. Because to this point, luckily, we haven't made any major mistakes. So we got a new throttle. The old throttle was a little janky, to be honest, and didn't shift very smoothly. So we got a new Mercury throttle control. And the only downfall was it needs a Generation 2 throttle and shift cable. And we have the Gen 1s on this motor. So we had to just run down to the part store, local boat store, and luckily they had Gen 2 cables. So these are the Gen 1 cables. These are the Gen 2 cables. And the biggest difference, for those of you that care, is this notch here that allows it to sit in the new throttle body. So we got new throttle cables. We are just pulling the old throttle cables out of the motor. And while we do that, we're actually going to be pulling the old steering cable out as well. We got a whole new steering cable system, and I'm hoping that will make this boat turn even a little bit smoother, because I think this is the original 2005 steering cables that came on this boat. So we got some stuff to do. We got to undo this whole harness and pull this sleeve that's holding all these cables up out of the way. And we're basically going to take the shift, throttle, and steering cables out and replace them with brand new ones. So this boat's going to be basically brand new other than the tunes. So I'm excited, but let's hope we don't make any major mistakes. We are cruising right along today. My brother just showed up and he printed some new vinyl stickers for the STARCRAFT. So we painted the hood and re-clear coated the hood of the STARCRAFT 75 horsepower outboard, and it's getting a facelift right now. So we're just getting these decals put on, and then we're going to take this thing home with us. It's going to really bring that boat back to life. But as far as the tracker goes, we got everything kind of cleaned up and organized. Just ran those new throttle cables all the way through and the new steering cable, but I think the steering cable might be a couple of feet too short, but there's only one way to find out. So We got the helm up here in place, screwed the helm down, squared it up. We're about to drill a 3-inch hole through the ground of the boat and see if we need a longer steering cable. But it sounds like Jed just got this sticker done. Let's check it out. Damn, that looks so good. There's still some flaws and imperfections in the paint, but it's a 1995 boat. This is way better. I'll do a before of what the engine hood looked like. I got pictures of it. This is part of the build that I've been dreading, honestly. We're going to be putting a big hole through our brand new floor. So I'm going to drill a little pilot first. I think I kind of want it right here. And my dad's underneath to make sure that drill bit not long enough.
No, nothing came out yet.
Okay, well maybe I need a longer drill bit. Or let me see if I can slide this one back. That was anticlimactic. Climatic?
There's one on top of that shell. Just laying there.
Here goes round 2. I slid the back in the chuck. No dice.
Oh, stop.
Holy sh**.
Oh, you just went in the gas tank.
You're so stupid. It's a little late to stop. My dad's stupid.
Hey, we've had a long day. We had to have a little fun, right?
Is that centered good though?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that got me, dude.
Yeah. Gosh, dang it. Now let's try this.
Awesome.
I knew you were messing around after you said gas tank, but when you said stop, I thought I went right through a tune.
Eternity later.
So once we had the hole drilled, we started passing things up from underneath. Little tip here. Start with your largest cable first, and then work your way down in size. A lot of little things. And don't forget, run everything through the boot as well. Trim. There's a lot of stuff here, but I think I have it all figured. So the new steering cable is too short, so we cleaned the heck out of the old one and reinstalled it. Here I am pretending like I know what I'm doing, trying to get everything back the way it was before I monkeyed with it. Note to self, the shift and throttle cable have to be in very specific position or else they won't function properly. I learned this the hard way, but after about an hour of minor adjustments, I got it to where the shift and throttle were functioning great. Now it's time to cut some more holes in the helm. I'm drilling a hole for the ignition switch. Also, a huge thanks to my buddy Jeff for spending the day helping us and getting his hands dirty.
Too tight. Those plastic threads aren't gonna.
Once we got the safety switch installed and tightened down, it was now time to move to the throttle and installing that. I will have to say, this was the biggest pain of the entire build up to this point. It took a lot of time, but we finally got it exactly the way we wanted it. After 12 hours of work on day 3 on the tracker, we went home. The next morning, we picked up right where we left off. My goal for today is to complete all the wiring on the entire boat. And my dad's goal is to get the trailer completely sanded and painted and ready for new bunks and wiring. As you can tell, my dad is an absolute perfectionist. I'm sure this trailer will look impeccable. I'm running this little transducer that goes to the dash. It's a tachometer, a depth finder that's built into the helm. We are about to test the wiring that I kind of just wrapped up for the first time. We got the Epoch 12 volt battery. So this is a super cool battery. It's a cranking and deep cycle battery. It's heated, 120 amp hours. But these are the best batteries on the market, especially a dual purpose one like this. So I'm gonna climb up here and I'm gonna do a test on the trim of the motor. I'm gonna do a test on bumping the motor, the ignition. Okay. Sounds like some stuff's happening. Okay, I'm gonna try the trim up.
Heck yeah.
Test number 1. Oh, look at this. We got lights. This one doesn't have light. Oh yeah, that's because I haven't ran the electrical up to the fuel gauge yet. We got our tachometer working.
That's the depth alarm?
Yeah.
That's cool.
We'll have to get that figured out. Okay, I'm going to bump the ignition. No dice.
No dice?
Let me try. I may know why. Little technical difficulties. There was a black wire and a black wire with a yellow stripe. I had backwards, but
Whoa!
that motor wants to fire right up. Okay. Looks like we got power to everything. Whoa. Gotta start wrapping some of this stuff up. That's gonna be nice. Success.
Well, good morning, everybody. We are going to install our trim this morning around our deck, and we remembered our chop saw to cut the trim, but we didn't remember a jigsaw to cut the deck, so we're improvising. And it seems to be working just fine.
As my dad was rounding off the corners of the deck, I went around and started tightening the fence bolts together. This just eliminated any type of wiggle room the fence had before we got it set and mounted permanently. We used this chop saw to cut through this trim. It's a thin gauged aluminum and this saw went through it no problem with a multi-purpose blade. We mocked it up several times before we drilled any holes. Once we got the front trim bolted down and installed the way we liked it, the remaining trim went together super quick. Normally you apply this trim before you load the fence and furniture onto the deck, but we were a little anxious the day before. So this just added one extra step to lift the fence up and slide the trim underneath. The through bolts that go through the bottom of the fence would secure the trim in places that the fence was already on top of the trim. We moved to mounting the hinges on the gates. The front and rear gates needed to be hinged and functioning before we bolted it down to the deck to make sure we did not need to make any last minute changes. This front section was tricky, drilling holes through the fence and down through the deck. We marked the holes and just moved the fence and drilled the holes. Then one of my dad's buddies brought an angle drill over, which made drilling these holes without damaging the fence super easy.
Well, we mocked up the panels the best that we could and started fitting everything to our design. As we started installing them, we started working our way back toward the rear of the sun deck, where the sun deck would normally be. and our original configuration that we thought was going to work with our rear gate all of a sudden did not work after we got everything bolted down. So we had to remove more panels and do more configuring, and we finally came up with a way to make it all work, and it actually worked perfectly. We're very satisfied and happy with how it turned out, and you'll get a quick look here how it all ended up.
After we got the back fence all dialed in, I moved to mounting some furniture. This furniture is super easy to assemble. A couple nuts and bolts to hold the back to the base, and then a couple deck screws into the deck to hold the base in place. Then we mounted some hinges and a hinge stop and a handle for the top cushion. I moved to the back of the boat and drilled a hole into the deck and put a boot on top to run the wires from the motor to the battery and all the accessory harness wires up through the deck as well. Here at the stern of the boat is where we're going to house the Epic batteries that will be the powerhouse for this entire build. I moved to the front of the boat and started working on wiring the navigation lights and the horn. I used heat shrink butt connectors on every connection and then heated it up so it was a waterproof connection. Well, today was a tedious one, guys. My dad and I got all of the fencing bolted down and mounted, and let me tell you what, it took way longer than I thought. We got this back fence area fabricated because we are customizing the back deck area. So we took parts from the swim deck that come with the kit from pontoonstuff.com, and we made them fit to be a complete back wall and gate. So we got that all done. We got these risers in. We finished up the trim. I ran some wiring up here in the front, our nav lights. We got some furniture mounted and bolted down. Still have quite a bit left to do. Got this gate mounted right there. We drilled this hole in the floor, ran all the accessory wires and battery wires. But today was a tedious one. Measuring about 300 times and then measuring again. I'm sure you guys will see in the video, but we are absolutely thrilled with the way the fence and gates turned out. Everything fits beautifully. The gaps are perfect. The seams are perfect. So we took our time. Probably could have done it in half the time if we weren't so OCD about some of this stuff, but we got her done. The railing and the trim are completed. Now it's time to wrap up the STARCRAFT. We have a few things left on this boat before it is ready to sell. One of the first things we had to do was hook up the helm. That's the steering cable, the shift cable, the throttle cable, and all the wiring harness that goes back to the motor and through the accessories of the boat. Well, it's the next day and we are back on the STARCRAFT, and the goal today is to wrap this thing completely up. As you saw, my dad had the hood painted and my brother made some new decals. We got the helm all hooked up. We're finishing plumbing the gas line. So hopefully we can get this thing running today. But the goal for today, get it completely wrapped up, get it pressure washed and cleaned up, and get a for sale sign on this bad boy so we can buy our trolling motor. Because basically that's the last thing that we need to purchase. And honestly, we're not going to be able to buy that until we sell this thing. So that's the goal for today. Get a for sale sign on the STARCRAFT and follow us along. And if we have some free time, we're going to hop over on the tracker and try and wrap up some loose ends there as well. Last couple things to do on the STARCRAFT was to mount some fishing chairs up in the front. First, we had to clear off some snow that came from the night before. We measured left to right and front to back to get a perfect center point to where the chairs would still swivel around before we drilled any holes. I went under the deck to make sure we weren't going to be drilling into a cross member before we drilled on top. We installed a couple 2x8s underneath for added stability so the deck would not flex a whole bunch when these chairs were being used. We mounted the base plate to the chairs, squared them up, and then ran some deck screws into the 2x8 below the deck. Installed the chair, sat on it, tested it out, and we were able to spin around in a complete circle. We moved to the stern of the boat and installed a new gas tank. We added this safety strap to keep the gas tank from sliding around in transit. I was having some problems getting power to the starter, so I did a little bit of searching on YouTube and found it was likely a starter solenoid. Ordered a new starter solenoid off of Amazon, installed it, and that was the ticket. We got the boat running perfectly. Well, before we show you the goods, I wanted to let you guys know that we are doing an elk hunt giveaway. So if you like this shirt or this hat or any apparel that I've been wearing throughout these videos, head over to the link right here and get entered. Every $1 you spend is one automatic entry. Now, without any further ado, let's check out the STARCRAFT build. So this build took us just about 4 days from start to finish of actual work on this boat, and it has come a long ways. From the $600 pontoons and frame that we picked up to what it is now. So as you guys know, we took the exterior and interior furniture and fence from the tracker and put it on these STARCRAFT pontoons. So there was two minor issues on this pontoon. There was a little hole up front and a little hole in the back where it looks like somebody has drilled a hole to drain these pontoons. So we had my buddy fill those up with his aluminum welder, and that is now perfect. Now let's check out what we've done on the inside. So as you guys can tell, we took the tractor trailer and put it under this pontoon as well, and we kept the tandem axle trailer for our new boat. So up front, we installed these two fishing chairs, and you guys saw us put new plywood and carpet on this deck. We took the helm and the couches from the tracker and installed them as well. We got everything functioning. We got a new bimini top, the sun deck, and then back here in the back, we opted to leave the two fishing chairs out of the back, so whoever buys it has the option to install them or not. And we put an updated gasoline tank back here as well. We reinstalled the live well and the battery box, and then we painted and put new decals on the hood of the motor. All in all, I think this is going to be an incredible boat for somebody, and it was a good little flip for my dad and I to get some of the money back that we spent on our new boat and to be able to fund a new trolling motor. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the STARCRAFT build up until this point. It'll be the last time you see it here on the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure you tune in next week. We will be getting the tracker build on the water, and you guys will not want to miss that episode.